To order at 1:09. This time, Frankie, would you bless the meeting?
I'll stand. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this day. We thank you for the rain that you have blessed us with, and we just ask you, God, to guide us in this meeting. In Jesus' name I pray.
Amen. Shelley, roll call.
Joe Bird,
Donnie?
David Walkingstick, Jack Baker, Harley Buzzard,
Here.
Julia Coates,
Here.
Buddy Fishinghawk, here, Janelle Fulbright, present, Don Garvin, Frankie Hargis, present, Anna Floyd Gordon, Lee Keener, Dick Lay,
Here.
Curtis Snell,
Here.
Janice Taylor, here, David Thornton, Victoria Vesquez,
Ani.
Eric Allen.
Ani.
You have a quorum.
Okay, approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Okay, discussion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
No, Mr. Chair,
Counselor Watts?
so I apologize to Shelley and to you, Mr. Chair, because I read this late last night. I should have sent an email off and it didn't get done. So I think on page 4, we're missing the vote on a motion to table for 1 month. Wasn't there a separate motion and a vote that should have been included
There was a motion and a second, but I don't think there was a
on the table? I thought we did do that.
I'm not for sure.
And then-
Refresh my memory, Shelley.
And maybe we didn't. I mean, you were really good about the minutes, so.
I think this is the one where it was the privilege of the chair and you guys just moved forward.
What was it regarding?
Gaming. It was during the lengthy gaming discussion.
Which item?
One and no business.
The bottom of page 4.
What's the pleasure, Counselor Watt?
Can we, I think those meeting minutes are important. Can we hold them? And I apologize again to both
I
of
can go back
you,
and listen
just
to the video.
because I didn't have a chance then to also go to the video or give you a heads up. But if we could table them for 1 month,
Table the minutes.
because we have no other choice on terms of timing, I don't think.
How long would it take to do that, Shelley? We can go back and do all that.
I'm in my office, not very long. But
Maybe by the finance.
if I have a break, right then.
Will we just recess this meeting till after E and F, is what you want to do?
No, I'm trying to get,
Approve next month.
yeah, we can do that.
Just
Okay.
put them back on next month.
Okay, that'd be good. I'm just trying to get clarification on what item you're talking about and protocol here.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we table the old minutes. Is that correct?
I made the motion.
She's already made the
I'll
motion.
second.
You second it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, we good now? All right. Reports. We have Marshal Service Department.
Yeah.
I'm Scott Craig. I'm one of Shannon's captains. He's on travel status this week and asked me to come over and see if you had any questions about the minutes that you had.
Counselor Keener?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Craig, have you, or I guess it's Shannon or the Marshal Service, looked into more on the, I guess, changes that will be made to the new vehicle, the giant vehicle?
What changes are we referring to,
Well, you're gonna make a ramp, I thought, for handicapped.
sir? That's actually me that's doing that.
Okay.
I'm in the process of, we're trying to get everything bidded out to get the ramp added to it. We got stickers put on it actually yesterday, so it actually looks like a Marshal Service vehicle.
And refresh my memory, what's the name of, what's that called?
It's an MRAP, which is a mine-resistant ambush protectant vehicle, but it's called a Cayman on top of that. But the military, uses acronyms for everything.
Right, so what are we calling it?
It's the MRAP.
MRAP?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good? Okay. Any other questions? Yeah, Counselor Buzzard?
Could you send
me and I get probably the other council, the agencies that were across that time.
I certainly can.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you for your report, Scott. Next, Office Attorney General, Mr. Todd Hembry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the council. It's always a pleasure to appear before the Rules Committee. We are in the final stretches of two major hearings that will take place week after next. Again, May 5th with the hearing in Washington, D.C. concerning the freedmen's rights of any under the Treaty of 1866. Following that, on Friday of May 9th is the hearing on the merits concerning the United Kituah Band hearing on the land and the trust issue as to the 2.03 acres in Tahlequah. We have been preparing oral arguments, practicing those oral arguments. All the cases have been briefed. We feel very confident on our legal issues and our legal stances, and we look forward to the hearings at the next Rules Committee. I will give you, for those who are not able to attend, I would encourage you, if you're able to attend both of those hearings, I will be giving a report on how those hearings went. We don't expect a hearing, a decision on either case immediately, although we are going to be asking each court that time is of the essence on these matters and that they give us an expedited decision as soon as possible. As to other issues, that's kind of been eating up our time. As to anything else, as to the Able Commission issue, it is in a hiatus status. We don't expect the Able Commission to do anything, or the legislature to do this legislative session. I believe they missed that window of opportunity. If that were to change, I would notify the council immediately. However, we will continue to monitor that situation. Same as to the city of Shawnee and the Citizen Potawatomi issue, vigilant on those issues also. One item of interest that came into our office yesterday was the state of Oklahoma has filed an objection to our land and trust application in South Coffeyville. We will submit that to the council. Basically, the reasoning, if I could boil it down to a nutshell, is that they don't think we should have land and trust because we really don't need it. There's really no legal basis of why they would have an objection. I've reached out to Governor Fallon's General Counsel, Steve Mullen, to have a meeting on this and expect to have one in the very near future. We are preparing a response. That response is that the state of Oklahoma's objection has no basis in legal theory or rationalization. So we'll keep you apprised as to that. If I may switch to codification. Everything that we have is in front of West. We are awaiting West's response to any questions or additions that they may have. We do have the forward from the principal chief. We have the forward from the Speaker's office. We are awaiting a forward from the Supreme Court. That literally the Supreme Court forward is the last item that we have to give to West. So it's all under its hands. We're waiting final okay that they're ready to publish it, and we'll start printing books. With that, that concludes my reports on those issues, and I would entertain any questions.
Councilor Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Attorney General, could you repeat what you said again? This Oklahoma filed in South Coffeyville?
They filed an objection to our land of trust application. When we make application to land and trust in the United States will notify stakeholders in the lands. Obviously, the state of Oklahoma is always one. It is within our jurisdictional territory. It's a novel approach or a novel objection by the state of Oklahoma. I will, by all, we got it yesterday, but we will disseminate it to the council so they can read it. Basically it says, well, we just don't need it. On that, I'm chagrined that we would consider what the state of Oklahoma thinks we need or don't need in land or trust. But be that as it may, we will respond to their statement, to their objection.
Thank you. That's my next question, if you would.
We will.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Counselor Taylor?
Bay Mills case.
My heart started to flitter the other day, Tuesday, as a matter of fact, when I read my Supreme Court website and it said Michigan on that. So Bay Mills, that's not it. It was the University of Michigan affirmative action case what was
You're right.
the decision, there was opinion that's handed by the Supreme Court, which, after reading the opinion, very well may be incorporated into our Friedman argument. I won't go into it right here because I don't want to tip our hand as to what we may be arguing, but it's a very interesting case that we very well may be able to use.
Affirmative action case?
Yes.
Or the Bay Mills case? So what, your answer to the Bay Mills case is
Nothing.
nothing happening there? Okay, and the UKB hearings are going to be where?
Tulsa,
Okay, that's what I
in
thought.
front of Judge Frizzell's,
Okay, in district court or federal?
Federal District
Okay.
Court. It's the same building as the Tulsa post office.
Thank you, Chair.
Counselor Watts?
Thank you. So if I understood right on codification, it won't be April, it'll be May when we actually get.
It is all in their hands. They could come down tomorrow and say, we're ready to go. We have done everything that the Cherokee Nation can do. What my understanding of the process is that West is going through all the codes, titles that we have submitted. When they come to a question, if something doesn't look right, they will call us. We haven't heard from them quite a while, although Christina Carroll, who's the paralegal who's heading up this effort on publication, she bugs them all the time because I ask her to bug them all the time. But we are we're awaiting any questions from West, and when they say they're ready, we are. We just got to get them that forward from the Supreme Court.
Thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Counselor Buzzard?
Yes, Todd, you mentioned a while ago that Oklahoma objected about putting the land in trust in South Coffeyville. I have a question about property that pertains to property on Lake Ocean. Are we afforded the same comment as the state of Oklahoma when the Tulsa buys property and takes it off the tax roll in Delaware County? Can we make comment about that?
That is not a land in the trust type application that I believe we would be. I will check, but.
But they
yeah.
take it off our tax roll in Delaware County.
Right. I don't believe the Cherokee Nation has an opportunity to respond or object, but I will look into that.
know if we do, and it sounds like we probably haven't objected to it in the past.
Like I said, I don't think we have the opportunity, but I will find out for sure and we'll answer that question.
And certainly if we had the opportunity to do it, and any more that comes up, I would certainly like for us to object to those.
Because you don't need it.
They don't need it, and
We just don't feel like you should have it.
it takes away from our basic school.
That's right.
Delaware County hurting for the academic school, and it's not like the Cherokee Nation has all the land there in Kentwood because the schools do get the money.
Well, yeah, and we make a direct contribution to the school,
Exactly.
so
So if you check on that, I'd appreciate it.
I will.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Yeah, Counselor Lay?
Thank you, sir. Has the BIA given you any indication about the South Coffeyville property that it's agreeable to let it go through, other than this complaint from the
Well,
state?
we're in that process. Obviously, the BIA has not indicated to us any objection that they have to it. The notification that goes to the state, there are just certain questions that the state answers, what's the purpose is on the tax rolls, blah, blah, blah. all their answers by the state of Oklahoma inured to our benefit, but then at the end of it said, we just don't think they ought to have it. I don't expect any problem from the BIA from having any objection to this land and trust, and I do not believe that Oklahoma's objection will weigh greatly in the consideration. I guess to say it directly, I expect the BIA to put this land in the trust without any hesitation. However, we will be responding strenuously to Oklahoma's position.
Compacts for state funds when we do this type of process. I don't get it.
I don't either, sir.
Thank you.
I do have one more question. What is on the application, what are we putting the land in trust for to? Does it say statewide?
This is for, I believe, Hotel and Convention Center. This, I believe, is not the gaming application. I believe it's the community building or plot of land that we would put that in. I will find out for sure.
Okay, yeah, when you provide the other documentation, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So the mayor, the county commissioners, everybody else was good, been here, jumps up to state. of
Everybody's
Oklahoma.
copacetic except the governor's office. They'll figure it out.
Good report, Mr. AG. Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Election Commission, any rep from there? Do not see one.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
They submit
Councilwoman.
in writing as requested the contents of the safety deposit box.
Do you have any information on that?
I don't have any information. I'm not sure that they've even been down there.
Could we request an update on that?
Uh,
Follow
we-
through?
We actually put it in that
Resolution?
resolution, and I think the resolution, they were given a copy of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since it would question our authority as a body, if they don't follow through, could we get some
I
assurance?
think they're gonna follow through. I think they just need that resolution, correct? They have not received the resolution.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought that we got them back.
Yeah.
So I guess when we get that to them.
Okay, thank you very much.
We would hope they would follow through.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Tax Commission? Yes, yes, ma'am. Councilor Coates?
Oh, I'm sorry. If there was someone ahead of me, I was thinking you hadn't seen me, though.
No, you're good.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you, as the chair, and Speaker Jordan, to perhaps request in writing that this commission needs to appear in front of this body month after month after month? They are on this schedule, and over, no one shows up. And they are the only entity in all of our meetings that just routinely is not here. And I know a number of us have questions for them. And I'm a little bit mystified as to why they feel that they can just repeatedly sort of, do a no-show to the tribal council. So I would ask that if you and the speaker would please make it clear to them that we do expect them to appear in front of it.
Sure.
that
Noted there.
reasonable?
Yes, that's noted there.
Mr. Chair, I make that in the form of a motion that be done.
I don't think it's necessary, but if you choose to, we can go that route. I think we can just say you need to be here.
Julia, did you hear me that I made a motion?
Yeah, I did. I'm going to give the, I heard you. Just leave it at that.
Okay. All right.
If you would like, I'll communicate with their,
And I will as well. As a matter of fact, I'll make a phone call and make that happen, Counselor Coates.
Thank you.
Okay. All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Sharon Swepson, Tax Commission?
I brought a couple of documents. I had gotten some questions about, on my report, I put in there every month the number of tags that were issued in the expanded area, and I got asked to break that out by county. So that's what the first document is. The second document is a map that we have placed on our website, excuse me, for about the at-large, and it's got a map on it that shows the colors of the jurisdictional area, the expanded area, and the at-large, and then it tries to give some information about what at-large citizens will need after July 1 when we get ready to be able to let them tag. So it's just something that we're handing out at community meetings, and council had asked some questions and thought that this might be helpful for you all, so. And
Okay.
if you like the report that I passed out on the expanded jurisdictional area, I can either bring that monthly or I can email it to you, whatever is the pleasure of the council.
What's the pleasure of the council? You can just email mine.
You prefer it to be emailed? I can just email it every month to everybody once I get that information.
Yes.
Other than that,
Also,
uh-huh,
make sure our
Shelley.
reporter gets it, yes.
Yes, sir. Other than that, I think you have my report, and I'll try to address any questions that you might have.
Okay. Any questions for our tax commission? Counselor Watts?
Thank you. Sharon, how is it going with our rebates on the tobacco? I haven't heard any grumbling, so I assumed it was good, but I hated not to ask.
It's going well. Actually, the state has, I've been surprised. We usually get it the last day of the month or the first day of the month following, and we've been having those back out before the 15th of the month out to our shops. So far, everybody seems to be happy. We had a few issues in the beginning not tying with the state, but that's because that the wholesalers were leaving off the last 3 business days of the month, what they reported to the state and then what they reported to us, so I was having issues reconciling. So I contacted the state, and they agreed that it should be for the full month because that's what the compact says. So they had sent out a letter to their wholesalers telling them that they need to report for the entire month. And so that's resolved a lot of our issues on reconciliations.
Okay, very good. And then on the at-large tags, it is still looking for June implementation for the rest of Oklahoma?
July 1st, and that's at the request of the state because their fiscal year ends June 30th, and they asked that we did not implement anything until after July 1.
We issue a new news release and have that also posted to our website for under yours, because I continuously get
Okay.
constant questions.
I think
I'd
we
like a
put
place
something.
to refer them rather than.
I do think we put something on the tag link on our website. I think it's already out there, but I will get with communications and see if we can reach.
They're expecting June from what I recall, and there's a number of people
Okay.
that have asked that, so we need to,
Okay.
thank you.
I can do that.
Counselor Walkenstick?
Hey, Sharon,
Yes.
can we, or this may be already in a process, but with these at-large of partnering with the Oklahoma Tag Office,
No, we're not in, right now, we have not talked to them about partnering with them or anything about selling our tags. Right now, they would have to either mail them in or come to one of the 5 locations that we have to get their tags. Now, we are trying to work with IS. Hopefully, in the future, we will be able for them to do renewals online, just like the state does, but it will just be for renewals. So the first time they would tag, they would either have to mail their documents to us or they would have to come to one of the offices.
are we looking at purchasing locations and putting bodies in there, employees in there to fulfill out this service, or?
Right now, you're talking about outside our jurisdictional area. The compact prohibits us from putting any offices outside of our jurisdictional area.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Counselor Keener?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sharon, you're showing some big numbers there on the increases, and I think you're doing a great job of running the department and the
Thank you.
commission. And it shows, and my questions are similar. Has there been more talk of opening another exclusive branch or something?
We are actually looking at these numbers, and as you can tell, Tulsa County is the largest. So we have been working with CMB, trying to possibly find some locations in that area. So I know that they're working on some stuff. We just haven't gotten anything ironed, down to the bottom that says this is where it's going to be yet. But I think you will probably see an office open somewhere in the Tulsa-Catoosa area.
Okay, good. And you've done wonders with what you do have.
Thank you.
On the numbers.
Appreciate that. The staff tries, they do a good job, and couldn't do it without them.
Right, yeah. Well, and also on the website, you'll be having a whole lot more on that, say, next May or June, telling people to get ready and
Yes.
here's what you need to bring with you.
Right,
all
and we've
that.
already posted this out there, and so we try to post all the information that we can. Plus, like I said, we're taking this to the community meetings to try to get that information out. And we also have a little question answer sheet for just the ones that are in jurisdiction too. We get questions on that they've been handing out at the community meetings also.
Very good. Thank you for your email.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any more questions? Very helpful. I like this step by step. I mean, I know you've already got
We wanted just
posted.
to make something simple, just a
Sure.
one-pager that we could hand out that would
Very
answer
good.
some of the questions that we were getting.
How many do you have on your staff?
I have 40,
Any-
that's at all the offices.
Any word on the new building you might be moving into?
I talked to Mr. Davis on Monday, and he actually thought they would be done with their construction part within 60 days. If they get the contract, they have put out a bid for the roof, and I know they've got to do all of that. Once they get their work completed, then we'll have to go in and put a counter in. IS will have to come in and put all their drops in. So, I mean, if he gets his done in 60 days, I mean, you're probably looking at 180 days out at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, at least it's moving.
Yes, it's moving, and I went up and looked at it, one day this week, Tuesday, I believe, and they've done a lot of work on the inside. It's coming along.
Good.
Looking good.
Very good report, Sharon. Yes, Counselor Buzzer.
I got just a follow-up question to Council Walkenstick's question. Sharon. You said a while ago that the compact prohibits the Cherokee Nation from putting offices in other locations.
Outside the
outside
jurisdictional
the
area.
jurisdiction. But does it also prohibit the Cherokee Nation from contracting with a ag office in Oklahoma City to sell Cherokee Nation tags?
No, and to my knowledge, it does not say that.
No, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Sure.
The compact is silent on that. The state of Oklahoma was wanting to ensure that although that we would be allowed to sell to our citizens outside our jurisdiction, especially in Tulsa, Wagner, and Scurry counties where they get the same price as in jurisdiction tags. They did not want to put their tag agencies in competition with new Cherokee tag agencies. Now, the door remains open as to a contract or a partnership. You know, if depending on the need, which I believe, or if it's a desire, which I think is going to be very great, we may explore that possibility. The door remains open to that. Any way possible that we can afford citizens, the at-large citizens, the opportunity to buy a Cherokee Nation tag. We're going to avail ourselves to it, and we're going to get the most convenient possible.
I figured you were. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Good report, Sharon. I think the self-governance people are in Washington DC negotiating some agreements, is that correct? And will not be able to report?
He had sent an email and said
Sure.
that if you had any questions, that she would be happy to address them.
Or you might answer any of the questions?
I don't think she wants me to answer questions for
Okay.
her.
Okay. Thank you, Sharon. A Gaming Commission? This is not Jamie Hummingbird, but we'll
A little shorter,
take it.
not much.
Okay.
Jamie's attending the IMGL conference this week. I believe you have his director's report. He did ask that I recognize a few of our employees. Kyle Sourjohn and Robbie Johnson just received their certified fraud examiners certification. And Deborah Wilson, she just received her OSHA certification.
Okay.
So we'd like to recognize those employees, and with that, I'll field any questions that you may have.
Okay. Any questions? You have the report before you. Any questions from the council? Counselor Fishenhoff?
I have a question. Why does your all's office inspect food and beverage?
I don't believe that we do the inspections. We accompany risk management, and we walk with them when they do the inspections, and they provide their reports to us.
I know the Cherokee Nation Environmental Systems does the,
I may be, it could be that department. Lisa, is it?
and you also
Best.
do safety inspections?
Yes, that's part of the 25 CFR requirements that are issued by the NIGC for us to have facility inspections.
Okay, I understand you do the safety inspections, but the food and beverage, they're two different things.
We actually just facilitate for them, and they provide us with their reports.
Okay, can you find out why?
Yes,
I'm
I sh-
curious about what you all know about health inspections. My mother's been in the food and beverage business. I've been in it. I've got two brothers in it. I'm curious to see what you all look for and what you would know about it.
Yes, I will get that back to you.
I mean, health inspections have to do with what kind of corners would you look for in a sink?
I believe what we do is we rely on their department for their expertise. I don't think that we do any training in that respect at all. We rely upon their reports.
Okay, y'all's staff routinely enters HR areas without checking to the front office. HR contains a lot of sensitive personal information about employees that's not needed for your staff and normal operations. There's also a lot of private meetings going on with management employees discussing personal matters.
I can check on that. For my department, which is the audit department, we never enter HR
Can you make
unless
some notes on this, then, please?
we can't. I've got Rhonda behind me. She's making those notes for us, so we can go back. But I do know that HR works very closely with our licensing department because they do a lot of the same types of job duties, and they work very closely with them so that we don't duplicate
Okay, there's a
efforts.
protocol that CNE employees go through when entering into sensitive areas, especially what deals with HR, and we expect you all to follow the same protocol. I'd like you all to look into that and answer me, because it's been documented.
Do you know who might have that protocol?
HR. and
Just
CNE.
HR has it? Okay. We can check with them and get that.
Okay, I need you to get back to me on that. There's 2 or 3 things on here. You all, I've also got reports, the agents are interviewing employees without HR or legal representation present. That's been documented. Can you write that down?
Check that.
I'm
Okay.
taking notes.
Beg your pardon?
I'm taking.
I've got her taking notes because I didn't bring my pen up, but we'll make sure we get those followed up on for you.
Okay. You all's also requesting personal information from sources throughout properties, including departmental managers on personal information. The gaming investigators are insisting upon releasing documents that's directly involved in litigation with CNE against the advice of CNE's legal counsel. I just now talked with Tina, who's also a lawyer. Would you please write that down? They're also asking for medical records and private information.
Is that our investigators, or, I know that we
Are
had,
requesting information relating to all suspensions or disciplinary actions that do not relate directly to theft or gaming-related violations. You're requesting private information from employees' files as personal appraisals, corrective actions, training, and you've also asked for medical information on 2 or 3 different individuals. The individuals talked to me about it.
is there any way that we can get the specific information to make sure that we can follow up?
Well, not all the employees, they're already aggravated at you. I told them to write it up and I turned it over to the AG. I also went on the NIGC website and I found out in 2007, y'all was out of compliance, where you didn't turn in all the gaming changes we had made, and they told y'all not to let it happen again. And on these last rules, I found out you all got us out of compliance again, where you hadn't been turning in these from 2007 till now. And we're out of compliance again with the changes, and I'd like that addressed too, please.
Is that the legislative acts?
Well, all of them from 2007 till now.
Okay.
And I'd like that addressed, please.
I can follow up on that. I do know that the only thing that I know that our office has been involved in is the failure to submit worksheets associated with our fee payments, and that was an issue that was addressed through CNE because they submit those.
I will print you off the letter that NIGC has on their website and send it to you. And then I'll have Shelley pull the legislation in 2007 and now that hasn't been submitted, and I'll send that to you all too, in case you all did not realize you're out of compliance.
Counselor Fisher, were those council legislative acts passed through here that
Yes,
went to the,
when we pass legislative acts within 15 days of us passing them, they're supposed to be submitted to the NIGC. I went on their website from 2001, 2007, they were submitted all at once. NIGC turned around and wrote us a letter that said, we will accept all your changes, but you are out of compliance. Please do not let it happen again. It's on the NIGC website.
okay.
From 2007 to the present, we have passed several different, excuse me, I'm sorry. From 2007 to now, we have made several changes to the gaming law. They have never been submitted, so once again, we're out of compliance. And they have this letter that told us in 2007 not to let it happen again, and we have.
Okay. Well, you just, Attorney General, you want to make a comment? No, you don't really want to, but.
The 2007 amendments, I have, was aware that had not been forwarded to NIGC. So I understand that that's being resolved. Obviously, that's not on my watch. I do know that the amendments that have just been passed, we were mentioning the efforts to immediately put those before the National Gaming Association. Commission and make sure that all processes are followed, that those ordinances are passed, and hopefully after this amendment has been passed by the tribal council, will rectify and clarify any previous shortcomings.
I agree. I know that's not on your watch, Todd, or this administration.
We'll take care of it.
Thank you.
We good? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next, Mr. Nason Morton, Human Resources.
Good afternoon. I have some handouts. I put them in these so I didn't get them wet in the rain.
You're doing good.
I was asked for a brief outline of the appeal process for a termination, and I made a short step process, but I also, for your convenience, put the actual citation of where I found them in the policy, and I've also attached those to the back. So I'm going to pass these around if that's okay.
Okay.
And in my written report, I have sent over the policy that deals with transportation, motor vehicles. Let's see, since my last report, open enrollment has closed for employee benefits for the year. And HR department has participated in a couple of outside auditors or compliance agencies who have been checking on certain programs. We have portions of that we are responsible for and that we give information for. And it looks like, I don't have the final reports, but it looks like we did okay. Or well. Until I see the final one, I never really like to, it seemed fine. Does anyone have any questions?
Counselor Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So, on the GSA, I tried to read through the various policies applicable to the GSA, but it wasn't, there was some allusion like if you've got a speeding ticket, you would have to pay that and you'd be responsible, but it wasn't clear if there was like malfeasance, if you were drinking and driving in GSA or those kind of things, what would be the process, like if it's immediate termination, or if there would be, what process that would be.
In which
Especially if it was
category?
a wreck or something, so.
What category that would be in?
Yeah, because I tried to read through and I wasn't clear about that. So what happens? It kind of alludes to it, but it's not really clear what the next steps are.
Where the cross-reference is. I will find the cross-reference and I will make sure it should be a category that's listed in the handout I've given you today, because how Chapter 3
And you're talking
is...
this
Yes, ma'am.
termination.
How Chapter 3 is set up is they set out levels of discipline, and some items you list, a first offense could result in termination, and other items, for example, you're showing up late for work consistently, that would be a process to where they try to find out what the problem is. For example, why are you running late? If it's a temporary issue and it's something that can be fixed, they could either change your schedule. Say, for example, the school changed, and you have to do a drop-off a little bit later, and you can't make it to work, but it's a temporary issue. Your supervisor has the ability to say, okay, for a short-term amount of time, I'm going to change the time you have to come to work until a bit later in the day. If it's just you can't make it to work on time, and you're supposed to be there at 8, and they really need you at 8, you're kind of counseled on, please come to work. And you immediately have to start coming to work, showing up on time, and then if you don't, you proceed to the next level. So the next one may be a reprimand, and then the next one may be a suspension where you spend a few days away to understand that, hey, this is really a problem, it's not being addressed. And after the suspension, if you still cannot make it to work on time, you go to termination. So the steps in the process are in the handout I've given you. So they list the processes, like, for example, violence in the workplace. It will be in a category. But also in Chapter 3, there will be an entire section on what constitutes a violation of the workplace. So what I will do is I will find the portion that attaches to the motor vehicle one and send you that one separately. I'll send it to everyone.
Okay, I appreciate that. And then, so, in the way I understood it too, so if there is misuse of like a GSA or tribal vehicle, not only is that employee responsible for immediately reporting it and reporting it accurately, but then there's a chain of command also that would be in a difficult position because they're accountable for the usage of that vehicle. Is that right?
Are you talking about, I did not bring it with me, and there's two
It's
sections.
in our book, and it's
Okay.
pretty thick, so I mean, I don't expect you to
Yes.
like, but I think that's another question I have. It seems like, especially around a federal GSA, that there would be accountability around use of that vehicle. But I think our tribal assets should be treated the same. Then also, the home to work, that has, for somebody to be driving a GSA to their house to work, that has to be signed off on by the chief, is that correct? And there would have to be a log of that? There'd have to be a document showing that the chief approved somebody driving a GSA or tribal vehicle to and from their home to work.
I'll have to look.
Okay, because that was the section, I thought I read it that way, so, okay. Those are the questions that I have after reading, and I appreciate you providing that in detail. Thank you.
Any more questions?
That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good. Counselor Fishenhall?
Lance, and I thought directors could sign off on that too.
I will look. That's one of the area of the policies where I know where it is and I read through it, but there are some areas of the policy that I'm very familiar with and others that I would have to actually look and see.
You might want to check, I think directors can too.
This is a fairly old policy, isn't it? 14-year-old policy here that may need to make some changes and make some amendment. Something you might recommend back to us after you've had a chance to read, and we'll do as well.
Yes, and on the policies, my next meeting after this is a review of this actual policy to kind of look at. I'm meeting with another department to just throw out ideas because some of them, I believe this policy may be 07 variety.
Okay.
Just looking,
Shorten it down?
yes, as much as I can, shorten it down.
100 pages on how to use a vehicle.
Yeah. Any more questions for Mr. Morton? Counselor Thornton?
I really don't have a question, but I wanted to tell Counselor Morton, that how much I appreciate and commend you on the speed that you fill positions in my district here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We're trying very hard in the department to, any process we can speed up, on any case we can, we're trying as hard as we can. One instance, I have an employee that took the initiative of arranging for scheduling. And as a result of that, and really personal initiative, they shave 7 days off the day a person goes to orientation. And it's things like that that's really helping. And a lot of it is employee-driven, either through the departments or HR to go, hey, can we do this? Say, yes, that'll save us a few days. And every person I can get in a chair and orientation ready to go is a victory. I just need to figure out, because I want to get as fast as possible and just get it done.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you for your report.
Thank you.
Old business, done pending. New business, speaker?
Yes, I had put a couple of things on the schedule and would like to form a couple of work groups. The first one being a work group for formation of a work group to consider these recognition requests that we're getting. That they first go through a work group that would develop some policy and review them and then make recommendations to the body.
Okay.
And I realize I can form a work group without going through committee, but I wanted to advise everyone, and I wanted to ask Frankie if she would chair that work group, and if she would agree to chair, pick her folks, and she could do that after the meeting.
3-member, 5-member?
Well, it'd be up to Frankie, however.
Okay.
It has to be less than 8.
Okay. All right. Any discussion? Okay. Got that in form of a motion?
On number 2.
Oh, you're gonna handle both of those?
Yes, I can handle number 2 also. There's come a need also to form a work group to consider culture, language, and art issues. And I would like to do that today, and I would like to ask Victoria to chair that group and pick a committee of Lesson 8, a working group of Lesson 8, that we could develop some policy and procedure, and these issues that come up, we would be able to send those to that work group where they could report back from time to time how they resolve those issues.
Okay.
And I envision both of these groups would be ongoing, that we would keep those in existence from this point on, because the need is arising on both of these issues for a continuing work group. Would you be willing to do that,
Yes, I would.
Victoria?
Okay.
We'd also get those members together afterwards. You all can just work that out.
Okay. Let me get this straight. So you guys form your work group and report back to us who that might be by their next meeting? Can you do that? Okay. Make sure you get it to Shelley and have it in writing. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, ma'am. Counselor Coates?
Yes. I wondered if you could ask the speaker's indulgence for just a moment. Can you give, I'm just curious. I'm not objecting by any means, so please don't take it that way. But I'm just curious as to can you give some examples? I'm not sure what recognition means. I'm not sure what issues around arts, culture, language mean. Can you give me some examples of the types of issues you envision coming up, or that may already be here?
Well, one would be just something that happened in Washington on our trip, that we had several artists that had issues of purchases and different things that maybe are better taken care of through a working group. And when I talked to the artists and posed to them that we just need a working group, they seemed very amenable to that. And I think that's the way that we can handle a lot of issues that may come up in that area. And Victoria is very well schooled in that area, having been an artist herself. As far as the recognition, we're getting so many requests from different council people now, and different folks from not even on the council, to recognize individuals, that we need to go through some formalized process. One, we need to make sure they're Cherokee. Sometimes they're just self-identifying and maybe they don't have a blue card. We need to know that. And we need to set up a process where if it's going to be a formal recognition, it needs to be for maybe a body of work or a lifetime of work. A number of these recognitions could maybe be done at a community meeting rather than a council meeting. And so that's why we need to form this other work group that Frankie would be in charge of.
And you would envision that the tribal council would be the arbiters of these kinds of decisions rather than an independent body of some sort, that the 8 or less people in these work groups would perpetually be the ones that would arbitrate these kinds of questions?
We're not trying to arbitrate anything. I mean, people are free to recognize at their community meetings whoever they want to. If they want to bring
No, I
them to the...
understand that, but for instance, I've had people who have contacted me because they have a relative who's a veteran that they would like to see honored in the way that we do, for instance, and I always just give those directly to the deputy chief.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm not understanding, with something like that,
No, that,
I think, Counselor Coates, that still stays in place. This is,
That has nothing to
yes.
do with us.
yeah, I would be opposed to that. That's,
So you're just saying recognition from the tribal council, request for recognition
Yes.
from the tribal
Correct,
council?
correct.
Okay,
Yes.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
People
Okay.
are still, we have nothing to do with you recognizing in your local community someone that has been of assistance to your local community, and you're doing it at your community meeting. And we have, other than turning in the names of people in our community that need to be recognized by the deputy chief's office for their service to their country, we have nothing to do with that. That is an initiative that was developed by the deputy chief's office. This is, what I envision here is when we have someone that we want to honor, we probably need to vet them first through this working group. So if there is someone on this body that say wants to honor someone in front of the tribal council, we would send them first to this group just to make sure that they are Cherokee. We will have some policies. Those policies will be brought back to this body. This body will agree upon them, and then we will let the work group do their job and make recommendations.
Okay, thank you.
okay. Actually gives you some options. You can do it at your own community meeting, or you can run it through this work group, as we're saying here. So, anyway, you have, speaker, you got that in form of a motion?
Well, actually, we don't need.
You don't need that?
Don't need a motion. I just wanted to bring it before the body.
Okay.
The speaker can actually form a work group.
Okay, well, we appreciate
But I
that.
wanted you all involved in it, and I want these two work groups to work closely with rules
Okay.
and come back and communicate with this group.
Okay. All right. Any more comments or questions? Okay. We good, Shelley? All right, that concludes our rules meeting. Any announcements? Next meeting, Thursday, May 29th at 1 o'clock. Motion to adjourn? Second. All right, we're adjourned.